1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Sumaira Kamal. First, the headlines. Prime Minister has reaffirmed the government's resolve to ensure free, fair and transparent polls in the country. Pakistan and Australia have agreed to further consolidate bilateral cooperation in diverse sectors in one line with shared objectives of peace and development. Army Chief says Pakistan earnestly looks forward to enhance mutually beneficial multi-domain relations with EU member countries based on common interests. All-Party Hurriyat Conference has criticised fascist Indian rulers for reviving oppressive rule of Dogra Maharaja Hari Singh to leave Muslim majority of Jammu and Kashmir at the mercy of Hindu bureaucracy. Troika Plus meeting of the special representatives and envoys from China, Russia, United States and Pakistan will be held in Islamabad tomorrow to discuss prevailing situation in Afghanistan. The first semi-final of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup is being played between New Zealand and England in Abu Dhabi at 7 p.m. tonight. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan has reaffirmed the government's resolve to ensure free, fair and transparent elections in the country. Addressing a gathering of parliamentarians in Islamabad today, he said the purpose of introducing electronic voting machines is to achieve the same objective. The Prime Minister regretted that no effort was made in the past to make the electoral process free and transparent. The Prime Minister urged the opposition to support the electoral reforms because it is the matter of national interest. Imran Khan also asked the Election Commission to play its constitutional role in this regard. Minister for Science and Technology Senator Syed Shibli Faraz has said the introduction of electronic voting machines is aimed at ending the rigging and bringing transparency in an electoral process. He was speaking at a function held at Pakistan Science Foundation in Islamabad today to mark World Science Day for Peace and Development. The minister expressed the confidence that Ministry of Science and Technology and National University of Science and Technology has developed a world-class electronic voting machine. Shibli Faraz emphasized that the country requires benefiting from technology for development, prosperity and raising living standards of the people. The Supreme Court has directed the government to submit a progress report in the Army Public School attack case within 4 weeks. The direction was given during a hearing in the case by a 3-member bench headed by Chief Justice Gulzar Ahmed today. The court ordered for submitting a report carrying signatures of the Prime Minister about the steps taken to address complaints of the parents of the APS attack victims. Prime Minister Imran Khan in person appeared before the court and briefed it about the progress made in the case. The Prime Minister assured the court that the elements involved in the attack will be brought to the book. Later, talking to the media, Minister for Information and Broadcasting Chaudhry Fawad Hussain said Prime Minister Imran Khan has practically demonstrated that the PTI believes in supremacy of constitution and the rule of law. The National Assembly was informed today that 111 billion rupees will be spent during the next 3 years to improve power transmission system in the country. During question hour, Minister for Energy Hamad Azhar told the House that the transmission line projects are being executed in different areas of the country. He said the capacity payments have reached 800 billion rupees due to the power contracts signed by the previous PMLN government. Hamad Azhar said we have reduced the annual flow of circular debt from 450 billion rupees to 130 billion rupees. Responding to a question, Hamad Azhar said both Swede Northern Gas Pipelines Limited and Swede Northern Gas Company Limited have been directed to come up with a rehabilitation plan in a month's time for the replacement of damaged pipelines. He said this plan will help address the issue of gas pressures. Pakistan and Australia have agreed to consolidate and further enhance bilateral cooperations in diverse fields in line with the shared objectives of peace and development. The resolve came during 7th session of Pakistan-Australia senior officials talks held via video conference today. The Pakistan side was led by Additional Secretary Asia Pacific Asim Iftikhar Ahmed, while Deputy Secretary Indo-Pacific Group, Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Justin Hayhurst led the Australian side. The two sides reviewed the entire gamut of bilateral relations, including political, economic, trade and investment, defense, security, education and technical cooperation, and people-to-people contacts. This is Radio Pakistan. Ambassador for European Union to Pakistan, Mrs. Androla Kaminara, called on Chief of Army Staff General Qamar Javed Bajwa in Rawalpindi today. During the meeting, matters of mutual interest, regional security situation, including current situation of Afghanistan, and bilateral cooperation with the European Union were discussed. Speaking on the occasion, the Army Chief said Pakistan values its relations with EU countries and earnestly looks forward to enhance mutually beneficial multi-domain relations based on common interests. The EU ambassador appreciated Pakistan's role in Afghan situation and efforts for regional stability and pledged to play a role for further improvement in diplomatic cooperation with Pakistan at all levels. In Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, All-Party Hurriyat Conference has criticized fascist Indian rulers for reviving oppressive rule of Dogra Maharaja Hari Singh to leave absolute Muslim majority of Jammu and Kashmir at the mercy of Hindu bureaucracy. In a statement in Srinagar, All-Party Hurriyat Conference spokesperson strongly condemned the upsurge in arbitrary arrests by Indian troops who have been given police powers to book youth on fictitious and baseless charges under draconian laws. Meanwhile, Indian Army, police and paramilitary forces have intensified searches and frisking in Srinagar and other parts of the territory. Troika Plus meeting of special representatives and envoys for Afghanistan from China, Russia, the United States and Pakistan will be held in Islamabad tomorrow. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi will inaugurate the meeting. According to a press release issued by Foreign Office, Pakistan attaches high importance to the Troika Plus mechanism on the situation in Afghanistan. Pakistan hopes that deliberations of the Troika Plus meeting would contribute to the ongoing efforts for achieving lasting peace and stability in Afghanistan. Pakistan's ambassador to the United Nations, Munir Akram, has said the world community has a moral obligation to ward off humanitarian crisis confronting the Afghan people. In a tweet, he said, after years of conflict, the COVID-19 pandemic and drought have combined to create a major humanitarian crisis in Afghanistan, which is being compounded by the constraints placed on financial and economic support to the country. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has criticized the Israeli government for refusing to resume the stalled Middle East peace process. Addressing a ceremony in Ramallah, he said the refusal will not benefit Israel as it cannot reject making peace with the Palestinians forever. Meanwhile, the Palestinian president has called for implementing the UN Security Council's resolutions, noting that the Palestinians do not accept to live under the Israeli occupation of their territories. The first semi-final of the ICC T20 Cricket World Cup is being played between New Zealand and England at Abu Dhabi today at 7 p.m. The second semi-final will be played between Pakistan and Australia in Dubai tomorrow at 7 p.m. And finally, the weather. Mainly dry weather is expected in most parts of the country, while cold in night during next 12 hours. To end the news, here are some of the headlines once again. Prime Minister has reaffirmed the government's resolve to ensure free, fair and transparent polls in the country. Pakistan and Australia have agreed to further consolidate bilateral cooperation in diverse sectors in line with the shared objectives of peace and development. Troika Plus meeting of the special representatives and envoys from China, Russia, United States and Pakistan will be held in Islamabad tomorrow to discuss prevailing situation in Afghanistan. And that is the end of the news. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk and also watch live streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/radio Pakistan.